What I wanted to achieve is teaching young people the full consequences of entering the criminal justice system, but not the main consequences, because I feel like everyone understands, but the hidden ones, the ones that people won't talk about it because it will bring up trauma, the ones that people won't talk about because it will make them vulnerable. People don't want to share it because it brings back old memories. And again, people don't want to speak about it because it might not bring them money. People don't want to hear how depressed and how sad and how so and you felt in your sentence. But young people need to know this. They need to know the full extension of the truth. One of our workshops, we actually done a questionnaire, which the video actually went viral when I talked about it. And on the questionnaire, we put out there to 40 young people aged between 13 to 21, would you go prison for 2 years or more for £1,000? So we're saying, if someone gave you £1,000, would you go prison for 2 years or more? Out of the 40 young people, 37 of them said yes.
For £1,000?
For £1,000.
That is unbelievable.
It's crazy.
Hello and welcome to Deeper, a podcast where we have conversations with fascinating people who have lived unique lives, and a companion piece to our YouTube series, Deep. We want to give you a deeper window into the experiences of our guests, and if you enjoy this video, please consider subscribing, as there'll be a new one every week. I'm Ben Powell-Jones and this is Deep, and today we're here with Kevin Koffi. Kevin, it's great to have you here.
Thank you.
And for anyone who doesn't know who you are, could you give us a brief introduction of yourself and your life that you've lived so far?
My name's Kevin Koffi and I was born and raised in Camden. I'm also the founder and director of Khady's Dream. Khady's Dream is a social enterprise aimed at decreasing youth violence and youth crime through education about the criminal justice system in an authentic, raw manner, giving young people the truth about the hidden consequences.
So I met you through work. We sort of came into contact through, in a kind of business way, that the people that we work with had worked with you. But when we met, I was thinking, like, we really want to get this guy in and talk to him because you were really interesting to speak to. And, I'm going to go back into that detail a little bit now, I think. Because I think it's a really interesting journey to show people how the beginning doesn't mean that the path is set.
Yeah, sure.
So let's go back to your childhood a little bit. You mentioned there that you'd started to be disruptive. Where was that disruption coming from? Like, what kind of a kid were you?
I was a kid that I was loud. I was always laughing. Like, I didn't take life quite serious. I was always intrigued as well. Like, when I used to see nice things, I used to think, oh, how did you get that? What does that mean? Like, give me some of that. I didn't want to be left out from early. I felt like I was someone that wanted to be in the crowd, not trying to be by myself. So that led me to start thinking of ways I can be in the crowd permanently, in terms of being the most coolest kid, or probably being the most feared kid in school, or the most kid that's most respected, whether that's through money, or I've got like good things at home, or I can talk to loads of girls. And that's where it started. Like, my focus wasn't too much about what I'm learning in school. It was about what other people think of me.
And is that because is that something that was inherently just in you, or do you think that, like, were you trying to make up for stuff? You know, what was home life like?
My home life was my mum and my little sister, and I wouldn't say it was the roughest, but we was moving a lot. We moved a lot in Camden, which could say a bit disruptive. And also my mum was a single parent, so she had to work a lot. So that led loads of hours of just me and my little sister. And again, going into school, I quickly wanted things that my parents couldn't afford, my mum couldn't afford. So that just led me to wanting it. And when I started to realize that if I can't afford it, then I'm not relevant or cool, it just made me get like depressed, made me frustrated, made me put pressure on my mum. Why can't I afford it? Why are we not the same, and so and so? And why can't I get new kickers? Why can't I get a new North Face jacket? And it started making me a bit angry because the answers were always, I can't afford it. No, stop watching what other people have. Focus on yourself from a very young age. And I feel like that just got me in a space where I felt left out.
Yeah, I mean, it makes complete sense. And I think, like, a lot of people will relate to that feeling. Like, when you're young, you want to have the nice stuff. But do you feel like when you were growing up, that it wasn't as much of your personality that defined where you were in school status. It was what you could afford or what you could wear. You know, where did that feeling come from? Were people saying that to you, or were you seeing it on social media? Or where does that feeling of status being what you can afford come from?
I think it was a bit of both. I feel like it was more or less what other people, the judgment that other people was putting on you based on what you have and how you react and the things. Like, I quickly saw that if you have loads of money, if you have the cool stuff, you have the cool item, then people are drawn to you. Like, they want to be in your space, they want to hear what you have to say. But if you don't have them things, then you're basically irrelevant, you don't matter, you don't care. And I was fortunate enough to have a friend that was actually well off in terms of he could afford the good items, the nice clothes and so on. So we got on close, but all the time I couldn't afford what he could afford. So quickly people will start to notice, like, he can afford it, but you can't afford it. Like, so why are you lot in the same group? And I was always getting questioned. Then I also started questioning myself, like, in terms of where do I need to get these items? I need to be relevant. I need to make sure that I'm on the same status as my friend.
So you said that you started trying to think about ways that you would be able to get those things.
Yes.
And, you know, what were the thought processes? Was it like, I need to earn money through work? Or was it like, I need to just get these at any cost? You know, how were you thinking about that at that age?
At that age, I think that it was more at any cost. And then I started understanding the value of money, that money can get you to these things. But it started off as early as, I could say, from the age of 8, 9, from getting match attacks. It was like little cards in schools that we used to trade. And I remember going into, I think I was in year 4, year 5, and I got a special card. And after I started asking people, like, oh, if you give me money, I'll give you this card. But they were just saying, no, but I'll give you 2 cards and you just give me 1. But then I realized, no, I actually want the money. So I think that's shown early signs, and that just started me understanding the value of money, how it can buy a lot of things, it can bring power, respect. And I've understood that from a very young age, and that just led on to then understanding how money cross over with luxury items and designers as well. Back then it was a lot of Ralph Lauren's, Hackett, Lacoste, North Faces, and then it was just keep developing the power that money has and the power and the influence it has on other people.
So when did you start to think about maybe moving into sort of like antisocial means or crime to sort of, you know, generate money?
I feel like that started again at a very young age. In terms of year 6, like me, my friends, we used to play a game called Money Up. And Money Up was a game where you use coins, you fight against the wall, and after that, you win if you get closest to the wall. But that quickly developed because my friends' older brothers were already getting a lot of money. They were getting a lot of money through crime. So even though we was making a few £5, £10, he used to always show us that there's more to it, there's more money to make. And then we was intrigued and thinking, whoa, like, how do you make that money? How do you make the so on? So then we started asking questions, us being annoying as we are, being like younger than them, we started asking questions, started following them, remarking new trainers and so on, and just watching the patterns, watching movements. Then when the opportunity came to start selling Class B as young as 10, 11, I took the opportunity.
God, because that is young, isn't it?
Yeah.
But do you think your case is unusual, or do you think that was fairly standard for, like, was people in your group at the same age doing the same thing, or did you start earlier than other people?
I feel like I started earlier to certain people because, again, my friend, he was well off, so he didn't have to do what I did. And the other people had older brothers, so they were always, like, if they were in need, the older brother could buy them out. But me, it was always, I'm by myself, like, I'm the oldest, I only have a little sister, my mum's saying I can't afford it, so I have no choice, but I need to sell this and so on to even start getting to the same level as my peers.
And how does it happen that a 10-year-old or an 11-year-old can be offered the opportunity to, did you say Class Bs?
Yeah.
So for anyone that doesn't get that, does that just mean cannabis essentially?
Yeah, it was cannabis.
How do you get given that opportunity to be involved in the selling of cannabis at 10?
I feel like it was just the right place at the right time. Again, being my mum being this only single parent, a lot of times after school, I used to not go home straight away. I used to always be around the estates, around the block, and quickly they started seeing me as someone that's always around, like someone that's reliable, someone that's we know where to find him. So then gradually you start building trust. It starts becoming a familiar face. And when I was given an opportunity in terms of when I was asked, oh, like, what are you doing for money at that young age, or do you want to earn more cash or so? And then that was the opportunity that came, just being at the right place, right time, and just also them seeing that I'm actually a kid from their state growing up. Also growing up in my older peers' eyes, they automatically took me as a younger brother just growing up, because they were seeing me going from 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So it already bonded a certain trust. So by the time I reached 10, 11, it was just automatic for them. It was a thinking process.
So did you see those people as like criminals and people that you could be fearful of, or were they just people that you looked up to and respected? And when you started selling the drugs, was it in your head, were you like, oh, I've crossed the line here, or was it just a natural progression in that sort of community that you were in?
I looked at them as just older brothers. I looked at us like as one big family. Like, I've been seeing them for the last 3-4 years. They didn't scare me one bit. There was nothing about gang and nothing about exploitation or anything. I just looked at them as families. And it was something that it was just normal. I didn't feel like I didn't get any excitement from it. I didn't like talk about it. I didn't do anything of the unusual. I didn't think it was only me this is going through. I just felt like it was already a pattern, and this is the cycle. It was almost embedded. The same way how when you finish year 6, you move on to secondary school, which is year 7. That's how I felt like the transaction was smooth.
It's interesting to hear that, because to me, and I'm sure I had a different childhood, but the thought of at 10 being exposed to that it does feel young, and being involved in that kind of activity. Were you exposed to people, in that area and at that time? Were you exposed to people that were frightening for you? Like, did you ever feel like I'm kind of over my head here, or was it a fairly easy thing? Did you ever feel in danger from the police, or did you ever feel from danger from people that were buying the product, or was it just a fairly straightforward process?
At that age, it was just fairly straightforward. Like, it was already embedded into me. Don't talk to police. Don't have nothing to do with them. They're on one side, you're on the other side. And it was just, everything else was just normal. Like, we wasn't scared. Nothing fazed me. Because it wasn't like it happened overnight. It was over a period of years I was seeing these things. I was just not involved from as early as 9, 10, being with my friend, my best friend, and his older brother, being heavily involved. I just naturally started learning these things, but just always taking mental note. And then, so when it got to my time, 10, 11, it was just like, I've got kind of the work experience already. So now when I'm getting offered a placement, it's just, I've got to do what I've learned and just handle it.
So how did it progress from there? Because I know that at one point you got sent away, didn't you?
Yeah.
So how did it progress from, the beginning of being involved up to the point where your mum sort of stepped in? Like, how did people realise what was happening, and how did the severity of the crimes progress?
Yeah, I feel like it started off with Class B as usual. Then the transition was like I had to go to school, and I feel like that's when she started figuring out that I wasn't taking focus in schools, because I was getting calls home, I was getting kicked out of schools, but I was always coming back with money. I had change, because then when it was the Class B, then it quickly led to me selling in schools cookies, sweets and chocolates in secondary school. But then it got to her attention when I was getting kicked out of different secondary school, and it was the same pattern. It was the same pattern happening, and she didn't understand why I was so focused on money, or why I always had money, but I was getting kicked out of school. So I feel like that was something that she started intervening, and then schools after school, pew after pew, then she took that decision to send me to West Africa, Ivory Coast, which was a whole nother ball game.
I mean, had you ever been there before, to that area?
Yes, I went to Ivory Coast when I was, I think, 2 or 3, but obviously I couldn't remember nothing.
Because that sounds like crazy. Like the thought that you'd grown up, been raised around the Camden area, then suddenly you've been sent away not to a different part of the country, but to a whole different country.
Yeah.
So like, what did that feel like at that age? Were you like kind of excited by it, or did you want to do it? Did you not want to do it?
I feel like just bringing me back to that moment. I feel like it started off like my mum actually tricked me and she told me that I was gonna go play football in Ivory Coast at that age. So what she did is she forwarded some paperwork that actually mentioned that I've been selected to go play for my country over there. So the letter looked legitimate, and in my mind, I had a feeling that it was a bit skeptical, but I saw the return tickets. So I'm thinking, oh, the return ticket says I'll be back in the UK in 1 week. So nothing could go wrong. Long story short, I got on the flight. I went over there to Ivory Coast, and the second night that I was there, I got a letter. I was with my mum's family friend there. So no one that I actually know, they were all strangers to me. So the second morning I woke up, I see a letter on the table saying, we've taken your passport back to the UK. You will not be returning back to London. You're going to stay in this country. You're going to do boarding school and you're going to start your new life in a new country. No relatives that I know, no explanation, just a letter, no phone call, nothing. And yeah, it was mad. It was mad because I remember reading the letter, then reading it again, then asking like the people that I was staying with, like, who wrote this letter, so and so on, and no one had answers to me, and that just mentally just started, yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah.
So why did your mum, clever lady, but why did she do it in that way? Do you think that she just didn't think you'd obey if she said, I'm going to send you over there?
Yeah, I feel like she had a clue that I was knees deep. At that age, I think I was 14, and she's seen me get kicked out of all different secondary schools, different proofs. At that point now, I'm selling Class A, I'm developing, I'm gang affiliated now, and certain incidents happened. I've been arrested by the police. I'm coming home with money. So she's seeing all these signs. So in her head, she was like, what could connect what I like doing to getting me out of the country? And she thought of football because, as you know, everyone that's young, they like a bit of football. But to see that I was selected, I felt like special, I felt excited. But then that's why I wanted to see the return ticket. Because even though I was excited, I still wanted to make sure that I'm returning when I said I'm returning. And then, yeah, that's the approach she took. I think she done it out of fear of what I was getting myself into. And she was just crying for help. And being a single mum, still trying to get back on her feet, that's the only way she found help.
Like, what were the emotions that you felt at that time?
At that time, I felt lost, I felt shattered, I felt stressed, I felt crying for help, I felt confused. I felt like this can't be happening, like, because I was still very young, like I think I was like 14, very young, and it was just confusing. I was just seeking for help, and then after that, quickly it turned into anger. And being angry in London is one thing. There's limits to what can happen. But being angry in Ivory Coast is a whole nother ball game in terms of the consequences, in terms of what they tolerate, in terms of the severe actions, the conditions you put yourself in, and all that. I had to process it while still being angry. And the emotions I felt was just that I just want to go back to my country, what I'm used to, the modern world, like technology, seeing things, like so and so on. But you lot don't understand where I'm coming from. And it was the fact that they didn't understand where I was coming from. So that anger was just consistent. And yeah, it led me into doing crazy things. Even ended up doing 3 nights in police station over there, which was another severe conditions. And I actually ended up doing boarding school over there, which was another ball game.
So how long were you there for in total?
A year.
A year?
A year and a month, yeah.
And what was the boarding school like?
The boarding school, I don't even know how they can call it boarding school, because the conditions there are very, very strict. It was lessons from 7 to 10 in the morning, you have lessons. Then from 10 to 10:15, you have a break. 10:15 to 12:15 is another lesson. From 12:15 to 1:15, that's lunch. From 1:15 to 4:15, lesson. Then you get another break. Then you have another lesson to brings you back to 6:30. Then you have lunch. Then from like 7:30 all the way up to 11:30, another lesson. So it's almost like you're doing 9 to 10 hours of education pure. And if there's no ifs or buts, you have to do them. You're doing them lessons. And if you try to be disobedient or try to go against the rule, the consequences were severe. You'll get beaten up, you'll get scarred, you'll get slapped, you'll get whipped. They try to starve you as well. Yeah, like there's literally no limit in terms of the consequence. And a lot of time I used to think because I'm a British citizen, there's certain things they can't do to you. Like I used to think like, oh, I see them doing the maddest things to other kids, but surely they understand that I'm a British citizen, I'm not one of them. But that even aggravated it even more because they had a culture where you think you can come to our country and tell us how to treat you. So that even aggravated them for me to get the more severe punishment, more out of death things. And
yeah, you can see it obviously burnt into your mind that you can remember the timetable that clearly after all this time still. But so you were there for a year. I mean, it doesn't sound like you enjoyed it, but how did you manage to get back to the UK then without your passport or anything?
the way I got back to the UK is maddest story. My older cousin that's actually in the UK, went to my mum's house, and after my mum had my passport in her bedroom, so she must have been working or in the kitchen. She wasn't in her bedroom. So my cousin took my passport from my mum's bedroom, and he had it on him. Then he flew out there to Ivory Coast, booked us a ticket, and we flew back together. And that's how I got back to the UK. And I just turned up at the front door, and my mum was shocked. And I feel like, yeah, it was a maddest story. Like, she didn't understand how, she was so confused. And yeah, he took that action. And if it weren't for him, I don't know if I'll still be here today.
I guess you had no control, did you, if you don't have a passport?
Yeah, literally, because I tried to ask for a temporary passport because I was underage. The ambassador used to tell us, look, we can't do nothing to you until you turn 18. Your mum has all the legal rights. She's your parents' guardian.
So did you tell the boarding school you were leaving, or did you just left with your cousin?
No, I just left.
Wow.
And yeah, no, I think the reason why he done that is because he saw the cry for help. He understood that it was getting deeper and deeper. And my mum's a very stubborn mum. Like, she felt like this was the right way, the only thing. No one's telling her to like raise up her child. No one's telling her this. No one understands her. But she couldn't see what I was going through on my side of things.
So you get back to the UK. Obviously, you're probably slightly pent up after having that year away. How did it then progress into a deeper level of crime? Because obviously you've had that break away. So when you get back to the people that you were previously working with, is there a gap there now? Is there a distance, or are they immediately just like, oh, great, you're back?
Yeah, I feel like when I come back to the UK, they was like surprised. Oh, like, you're back, like, because I used to reach out to them on Facebook saying, oh, can you buy me my ticket? Can you try to get my passport? I need to come back. So to me, they knew I was stuck there, and they just thought I was stuck, gone, forgotten. So when I come back, they were just like, oh, you're back, and sort of thing. But the attitude and the mindset I came back is, I've got zero fear. Like, I don't fear nothing no more. Like, it was just like what it did to me. It took every sort of fear I had. Like, I wasn't scared of death. I wasn't scared of prison. I wasn't scared of revenge. I didn't care at that sort of point. And at that age, and my friends saw that, they literally said they could see it in my eyes that I had no fear, and I spiraled out of control.
So did your status when you returned change because of how they were perceiving you now? As in, like, your mindset was different. So did that put you into a different sort of place in that group?
Yeah, I feel like they were wary in terms of they didn't actually know what I've been through. So my status didn't straight away go to the top. It's over the period of time when I was taking more risk in terms of firearms, doing more robberies, more things. It was just like, hold on, this kid's just like going up and up. He actually doesn't care about the consequences. And that's when it started going, pushing up the ladder, and the status, as you said, started getting higher and higher. Because again, in my eye, I had no fear. I was doing whatever I want, no fear of anything. But in their eye, they didn't have the same no fear as I did. They've been in London. They still have cautious and think about prison and police and that. For me, it was just like, no.
So how old were you at this point?
I come back, I just turned 16.
16. And you mentioned there that you were progressing into firearms and stuff like that.
Yes.
That feels like, to someone who's never been around that kind of lifestyle, like that feels to me like this sort of like very serious sort of criminal class, firearms. Did you feel like that at the time? Like, did you feel like you were getting into a very, very dangerous world? Or was it just more like whatever it takes now to keep going forward?
Again, it's hard because I didn't have no fear. I knew that firearms had power. I knew that with a firearms, you can do more things. You can create more damage. You can get rival gang members down. It's almost a status of power. And I quickly understood that from being in Africa, being in Ivory Coast, like everyone that was serious had a gun in them. Like over there, like it's freely, everyone walks around with a firearm. So in my mind, I connected the power of that and I transferred it into London. So straight away, when I came back within the first month, I think I had access to a firearm.
Wow.
And I was just running like wild with it. And people saw that and they started thinking, yeah, maybe Africa did change him a bit then, because he just come straight off the plane and just knees deep in. And I was almost like advancing everyone else in terms of what they're doing.
It's funny because you got sent there as a way of breaking the cycle, but it sounds like what it did in a way was like take it up a gear for you.
Yeah, no, it did. It took it up a gear. And I feel like because I couldn't get revenge on what my mum did to me in terms of tricking me and making me stay over there, I couldn't revenge that. So all the anger and frustration led onto me not being fearless and just being a nuisance on the street and just getting what I want, whether that's money, whether that's respect, whether that's power. I was all out.
And you were part of a gang, and you mentioned rival gangs there. Was that a big part of your life at that point in time? Like sort of like gang warfare? Like, how does that look to people who don't really understand how that works?
Oh yeah, no, that is just, we grew up in a certain area and we had conflict with another areas, and it was a term of this was our turf, that's their turf, and now certain people were getting hurt from either turf. Like certain my friends were getting stabbed, certain their friends were getting stabbed, and it was war. It was like if we see one of them, then we're trying to kill them. If they see one of us, they're trying to kill us.
Oh, that's serious. So
Yeah.
if you saw one, you would literally try and kill them immediately.
Yeah. I feel like for me, it was out of no fear again. It was no fear again. Like if I don't kill him, he's gonna kill me. But I'm pushing it to the next level because I don't care about anything else at that time. Yeah.
Did you ever get, did you ever have situations where your life was in danger? Can you tell us about any of that?
Yeah. I feel like, those times my life was in danger in terms of being sliced, being stabbed. And again, it almost felt like this is normal. This is the path that I've chosen. So when those things did occur, it wasn't a thing where I actually had to reflect on it. It was just about, this is normal, move on, and just make sure you make it out. And it didn't shake me up or anything like that in terms of like stop me. It just made me think, it's my fault. Why did I not have a gun on me at that time? Why did I not have a bigger knife?
So what age are you when you're getting slashed or stabbed?
16.
16. And were there any serious injuries from it?
Nothing serious. It's just at the back of my head, the side of my face as well there. So it was nothing too serious, luckily.
But they were trying to seriously hurt you while...
Yeah. I feel like they were trying to hurt me. And yeah, it was serious at that time. It was very tit for tat with other people. And again, like, I was trying to hurt them, so I understood where they were coming from. So I don't even blame them. It's almost like it's the culture.
Yeah.
You're trying to kill me, I'm trying to kill you. I don't even know why I'm trying to kill you. You don't really know why you're trying to kill me, but it is what it is.
And was there like a sense of consequence in the sense that, I think for a lot of people, killing someone is like the most severe crime you can commit in like modern society. Did you have any feeling of like, you know, when you're trying to kill these rival gang members, was there any sense of like, that's a big thing to do? Or was it more just like, that's just daily life?
I just felt like, do you know what? I was so lost. I just felt like it was daily life. Like when I came back, like before I went Africa, I understood like in terms of if you kill someone, you're doing life in prison, and that's the whole life in prison. And killing someone is the most severe consequences in terms of you're taking someone's life away. But then when I came back from Africa, it was just like it is what it is. Like people die all the time. Like people get sentenced to life all the time. Like you're no difference if someone has to die. And my mindset was just, I was really lost. I was really lost in terms of the consequences that I didn't really took in as consequences because I had no fear.
And where was your relationship with your mum at this point? Because obviously she'd sent you away because she thought it had got too bad at a much lower level. So you've now come back and really taken it up a level in terms of gang violence and firearms and, you know, drugs. So where's your relationship with your mum at this point?
I feel like when I first come back, it was a bit tricky in terms of what she did to me. Like I felt betrayed. I felt like this is the one person that I trust in my whole life. Like how can you send me? How could they basically left me to die? Like I had no help. What would you have done if I committed suicide? Would you have ever forgive yourself and so on? So it was a lot of hatred and betrayal. But then she tried to get me to understand from the actions I was leading up to that this is the reason why I try to send you there so you can change. It grew over time because, again, over time I didn't try hide it from her no more. It was like, it was in her face. Like her son is out there doing what he's doing and there's no stopping him. Like certain times when I was younger, she used to keep me out of the house. If that was the case, then I'll just go out countrysides. I'll just get involved with county lines, as they call it now. Back then, I was just going to out of town, and then she understood like quickly that this is the life I've chose. Like so, the relationship did get better over the time because she was either she understands me, or she tries to understand my world, or she's gonna lose me forever.
It's quite a lot of difficult emotions there, isn't it? Because it's like she would have obviously been worried and sad, and you were angry and betrayed. But
Yeah.
at the same time, you're trying to stay together, so there's still that below it all is the bond that you still want to have each other.
Yeah, no, of course. Like at that time, I didn't really care how she felt, because in my eye, I feel like you violated me in terms of you sent me to a whole different country, and you've left me out there, and you're supposed to be my mum. So I can't care if you're feeling sad or depressed or worried about me, because you wasn't worried about me when I was back there and I was screaming for help. So why are you gonna worry about me now?
And what, let's talk about the lead up to your first prison sentence.
Yes.
So how did you eventually get arrested and sentenced to jail?
The first time I actually got sent to jail is I was arrested for 2 firearms and 8 ammunitions in Blackstock Road in 2015. I think it's May, 2015 May. I was being under surveillance.
How old were you, sorry?
I was 17. I was being under surveillance, and there was a lot of intelligence led of that I'm handling firearms. I'm in the mix. So what they did is they bugged my phone, and I was on a way to purchase 2 new firearms because the previous ones I've just lost them. Whether I've lost them in bushes, I've lost them on the enemy's turf. I've just lost loads of different firearms. So I needed more. So I was on my way to go purchase them, which I successfully purchased. And then on the way back, returning back, the car that I was in got T-packed by police. So what they did, they T-packed it in a Range Rover. It was one of the newest Range Rovers. So at the time I was thinking, that's mad. Like I was thinking, whoa. I remember me saying, when the car overlapped the yellow cab, I remember me saying, that car is nice. But then within a split second, they've jumped out, armed police, stay where you are. But then I've tried to get out of the cab and I've just got tasered and I blacked out. And the next thing I remember is I'm in handcuffs and a lady's got a camera in my face saying, take it easy, underage. And that's how I first went to prison for 2 firearms and ammunition.
Wow, so you got tasered and blacked out from it?
Yes.
Wow. So what was your sentence?
My sentence was 4 years.
Wow. Like, you know, when you're 17, 4 years is a long time. It's like actually quite a big chunk of the life that you've actually lived at that point. So what were your feelings then, that knowing that you were going to be going to prison for that period of time?
Again, it's mad because I've been caught with these firearms. I've gone to prison. I've been sentenced. But I had no emotions, like in terms of, like I remember someone that was at my court said, when I got sentenced, I just looked calm. I just smiled at my mum and so on, and they were just crying. I had no emotion in terms of, I wasn't really scared. I felt like this was the destination. This was what it's meant to be. Like this is normal. Like you're going to prison. You've been caught with firearms. This is normal. There's nothing to be scared. It's nothing that you didn't already know, sort of thing. So I feel like that was the emotions at that time.
Do you think you were a dangerous person at that time?
Yeah, in terms of my mindset and the fact that I had no fear, I think I was very dangerous in terms of what I'll do, because I had no limit and I didn't really know what I was capable of until you pushed me to the fullest, because I didn't care. And I had no fear.
So what was prison like, the first experience?
First prison I went to was Cookham, and yeah, I feel like I walked in there and obviously you get the talk. This is prison, you're allowed certain things and so on. But it didn't hit me until the first door shut. So I went in a cell, I looked around, I actually had a shower in my cell, I had a phone in my cell. So they were still treating me delicately and they shut the door. But then it started off when I was getting asked, who am I, what am I in jail with, what gang do I represent? So I went from taking my surroundings, then quickly have to switch on because I have to realize that I'm actually in another war. I need to prepare myself for another war. I'm in a wing. People ask me who am I from. I don't know who's who. And I need to adapt. I need to make sure I'm safe. I need to make sure I understand who's on the wing with me, who's got who's my man, and so on. So it was more like there was no time to even rest, to even process that I've been sent to prison. It's just, again, tomorrow morning's going to come. I'm going to come out. I'm going to see a whole new faces. I don't know if this person, I don't know if that person trying to attack me. It's just a thinking process.
So was the gang affiliation thing a big deal in that prison?
Yeah. I think gang affiliation is big in any prison you go to. It's what you're known by. It's what you affiliate yourself with. It's what like you're represented as. So I feel like it was a big thing. Like, and quickly I had to navigate through the system to get on a wing where my fellow other peers, gang members was.
Right, because if you're on a wing that's mainly rival gangs, I suppose you're just in danger daily, aren't you?
Yeah. If you're on a wing where your ops or rival gang members, like, you wouldn't last like more than a day. If the moment you come out your cell, you would be attacked because you're a rival gang member. There's no talking about it. There's no reasoning. There's no thinking, maybe they might let me off this day, or maybe because I'm in prison, everyone understands we're trying to keep our head down. There's none of that. It's literally, you're getting attacked. So if you don't attack first, then you're going to get attacked.
After that first prison sentence, you were in and out of prison for many years, weren't you?
Yeah.
How many years in total did you spend in prison?
6 years.
6 years. And over what period was that?
Over 2015 all the way to 2022.
Wow, okay. So it's kind of like a revolving door then, when you were coming in and going back. How many prisons have you been to in total?
11.
11 prisons?
Yeah.
And what were some of the things that you saw in there? You know, like when we think about prison, people have sort of an opinion of it. And some people, you know, you see some people saying it's too soft. Some people are saying people have PlayStations, they have TVs, they have DVD players, all that sort of stuff. And then you speak to other people and they say it's basically a war zone and you can get in serious trouble and you can get really badly hurt. What's your opinion of it? Like, what was the kind of experience you had overall of prison?
My prison, like, for the matter of fact, I understand where people have two different perspectives. Of prison was hard. Some prison people find it easy. But for me, it's a bit challenging because when I came back from Africa, it only took me 6 months and I was sent to prison. So what I incurred in Africa boarding school was nothing compared to prison. So when I've gone into prison, I've already gone through hell in terms of the country what I've been through. So when I've gone into prison, it's almost a fact that this is not as hard as I've been. This is not as dangerous as where I was.
So the boarding school was worse.
Oh yeah. A whole different ball game. Mentally, physically, suffering. Like it was a whole different ball game. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So going into prison, I didn't feel like it was easy. I felt like, again, I was in a cell. There's different prisons have different stories. So some days I'll be pissed off, some days I'll be calm. But to me, it was always bearable. Like, because I feel like different factors. One, because I was always in a prison where I knew people in there. Like, I was a very known character from being kicked out of so many different schools, being kicked out of so many different pools. I've gone to connect with so many people, and when you're in Prus, 9 out of 10 times they have like a school to prison pipeline. So you're more likely gonna be known from different areas. So I think that helped me as well in my sentence of just being known. And two, I'm just a calm person. Like I'm just like I respect you and just hope that you respect me back. And if you don't, then we're gonna have a problem. But if you do, then we're gonna be sweet as. And the only problem I had was with rival gang members. Apart from that, I've always been respectful. And I feel like that came from boarding school in Africa because they prioritize respect at a highest level. So when I've gone into prison, I've always given respect to people that I don't. And they see that off me quickly. And that is why it was bearable. Certain times I was frustrated because I was behind my door. Certain things I've seen, like stabbings, fights, hot kettle water. Yeah, but again, that was just normal.
Did you get involved in any violence?
Yes, plenty. Again, I was gang affiliated, so I got involved in violence. I got involved with violence with staff as well. When I never used to get my canteen, when I felt disrespected, because I'm a person where I valued respect at a highest level again from my background. So the minute I feel disrespectful, I lash out, and then that was it good in prison because I used to do it to the staff. And yeah, I was involved with fights, group fights, and that made news in the prison, one-on-one fights. So it was normal, like it was just like what you expected. It was just normal fights, stabbings, kettle, tuna cans. Yeah, no, it's just like,
Yeah, the tuna cans. So yeah, just tell us about how they work again.
oh yeah. They tuna cans, we used to put them in their sock, and after you put it down their trousers, and then if you see a rival enemy, you can swing it at them, hoping that it hits them. Or the same thing in Cookham Wood, we used to use soap bars, because soap bars are kind of hard. So if you put like 3 of them together, it does make like a block hard. And if you're hit around the head with that a couple of times, you are going down.
Do you ever get hit with anything?
Yes. I did it with all my fights. The first fight in prison I actually lost because, again, I was in prison talking and people asking me where am I from, and I didn't actually understand what to say, what not to say, what to be wary of. So I'm just answering honestly because I'm not scared of anything, I don't fear anything. And then I was attacked with a tuna can, it left me for cocoa, and then certain times I was group assaulted as well because I was in the wrong place at the wrong time. But also I have been on the other side of doing them assaults. And so I understand that. You quickly understand it's a culture and it is what it is.
What's interesting for me sitting opposite you is, when you meet you just in daily life, as we did originally, you're actually a very calm, mild-mannered person. And it's quite hard to imagine that personality involved in the violence you're discussing. Did you still present in the same way back then, or have you changed since that period of time?
I feel like I present myself back then calm. I've always have a calm demeanor about me because what I find normal is what is not normal to like other people because of what I've been through. So I've always been calm, respectful in my own space and very awareness. I'm very aware, and I like to play chess as well. So my mind's always think I'm an overthinker. So in them situations, I was very calm. Like I can be calm like this, go out, try to stab or be involved in a group of fight and come back to my cell and just read a book and just be polite about everyone. There's even times where we used to have fights with rival enemies, and then when we're sentenced to block and confinement, we used to talk about it. Like we used to talk about the incident, and they understood that it's not even me they have a problem with, it's the gang that I rep. And I don't have a problem with them, it's the gang they rep. And they used to just be like, bruv, you're actually cool, like, you're actually a good person, like, and that's how it is. I've always just been calm and respectful.
So do you still have that switch, do you think?
I've learned to like manage it well. I've learned to like see like with what I'm doing as well, manage it well and understand myself a lot more. But again, because I haven't had that professional, I haven't had any trauma, any psychology or anyone psychiatrist that actually talk to me and actually break down everything I've been through. I've just someone that's keep going and going. So the switch side of me, I don't feel like it's there to the full extent because I've got a lot to lose now and so on. But I can't say I'm perfect. I can't say I'm perfect. I still highly stick with my morals. I still respect one another. And when I feel disrespectful, like I do feel, yeah.
Don't like it.
No, I don't like it. I don't like it. No one likes to get disrespected. But one thing I would say is like the fearless in me is still, I wouldn't say I'm scared, but I'm not scared at the same time in terms of, because I feel like once the fear's gone, it would never be the same. Like, again, like it's like when someone goes prison the first time, they're never gonna be scared of prison the second time. They might be scared of what they're gonna lose behind, but prison itself, they're not gonna be scared. And I feel like that's what Africa did to me.
So you, from a young age, were on a sort of like collision path. You know, you were starting off and it was going up, up, up. And then you had these times in and out of prison. Prison obviously wasn't a deterrent because you were coming out and then going back in, coming out and coming back in. So what did finally change for you?
What changed for me is starting this company, Khady's Dream. And I feel like that started in prison. I was given my 4th sentence, which was for Class B cannabis, which I got 40 months, which I don't know how, till this day. The judge said I'm a prolific offender, so he's going to sentence me to 40 months.
Oh, you mean 14 is too much?
40 months for cannabis. Yeah, it is a bit too much because it's cannabis, and due to the sentence guideline, I just got pushed up due to my factors and so on. So I got 40 months for cannabis, and bear in mind there was no cannabis found, just 2 texts on the phone.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You got 14 months for 2 texts?
Yeah, just 2 texts about cannabis on the phone. They said I was concerned to supply Class B. So that's what it did. And yeah, and on that sentence, my mum turned ill. My mum turned ill now. And my mum, today, she's a nurse. She's been a nurse for the last couple of years now. And I've been in and out of prisons for the last 6-7 years. So it's taken a toll on her mental health and so on. So the last sentence, when my sister told me that my mum's ill, I actually questioned myself as that, what do you mean ill? Like, she said, mum's in hospital. But I was like, I know, because she works there. She's a nurse. She works in hospital. Duh. She was like, no, like, mum's in hospital. She's ill. They're saying that she's not eating. Her mental health is deteriorating and she don't feel the same. And I'm thinking, wow, what's that? And she said, because of you. You've gone back to prison and she can't deal with it. She's had a mental breakdown and so on. And like the doctors don't know what can happen next. Like it could lead to other things in terms of heart attacks, strokes and that. And that's when I actually stopped to think, whoa. With me, the minutes, like all the times that I've been to Africa or prison, it was me being affected. Like I can handle what's on my shoulders. Like anything that happens to me, I can happen to it. But the minute it happens to my family, it's like I lose control of that situation. And that's what triggers me in terms of thinking, okay, she's ill, I have no control. And that's when I started thinking about the ripple effect that I've had on my mum over these years of coming in and out of prison, these visits, knowing that I'm going in prison, the PTSD she has from no caller IDs, because it could be police stations, it could be solicitors, and this has built up over the years. And I started thinking about the ripple effects in terms of every time she used to see my mum used to see, she used to say, oh, she's good. Every time I come out of prison, I used to think she's good, she's well. She tells me nothing's wrong as long as the bills are paid for and so on. But what I couldn't see was this was affecting her mental health. And she couldn't see that either, because mental health creeps up on you. It doesn't have an expiry date, and it was creeping up on her slowly. So when that happened, it just had me thinking throughout the whole sentence that, do people actually know the full consequences of actually going to prison, coming out, being on license, so on and so on? Like, how many people are aware of this? Because when I was young, 13, 12, 11, I wasn't aware that this can be a possibility for my mum, sister, nan, anyone. I was just told that if you break the law, you go to prison. And that thinking process just led me to coming out, doing more research, finding out that this information is not being shared to young people. And that just started like Khady's dream.
So Khady's dream. So as you explained at the beginning, Khady's your mum's name, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Khady's dream you set up with Jade, who we met earlier.
Yes, yeah.
But what was just going into a little bit more detail, what was the purpose of setting up Khady's dream? What did you want to achieve with it?
What I wanted to achieve is teaching young people the full consequences of entering the criminal justice system, but not the main consequences, because I feel like everyone understands, but the hidden ones, the ones that people won't talk about it because it will bring up trauma, the ones that people won't talk about because it will make them vulnerable. People don't want to share it because it brings back old memories. And again, people don't want to speak about it because it might not bring them money. People don't want to hear how depressed and how sad and how so and so and you felt in your sentence. But young people need to know this. They need to know the full extension of the truth. They need to understand how vulnerable you can leave your loved ones, the ripple effect, the DBS checks, the way society will look at you, how when they type your name in now, they need to understand the full motions of what they're getting themselves into. And I feel like that is what a passion, that's what they need to understand. Like, I don't feel like I'm in a space where to tell young people, put your knife down, don't do this, don't do that, because everyone does what they do for their own reason. I have not been in their life to tell them what to do. But what I do think they do deserve is the truth. I feel like they deserve the truth about the criminal justice system, about entering it and understanding the full consequences. And that's why we built the company, so they can understand in a way they understand it, not through just theory work where it's written, but through contents, through live situation, through lived experience, through influences that they look up to understand it from their own words, that this life is not what it is, and the effects, you won't see it until it's too late.
And do you think that the impression people have of that world is driven by, you mentioned influencers there, do you think it's driven by like pop culture in the incorrect way?
100%, 120%. I feel like on the social media, the life of prison is getting glamorized, it's getting misled, it's getting manageable, it's getting like, it feels like cool, like he's doing this. If he gets caught, he's gonna go to prison, but he already knows what prison's like. And when he comes out, he just has a bigger fan base, he just has a bigger audience, because now he's known, he's not a nobody. And funny you say that, because one of our workshops, we actually done a questionnaire, which the video actually went viral when I talked about it. And on the questionnaire, we put out there to 40 young people aged between 13 to 21, would you go to prison for 2 years or more for £1,000? So we're saying, if someone gave you £1,000, would you go to prison for 2 years or more? Out of the 40 young people, 37 of them said yes.
For £1,000?
For £1,000.
That is unbelievable.
And that's why it kind of shed light on what is happening in the environment. And that's the reason why it went viral, because it's crazy.
Is that because they just think, because for me, my view of going to prison is like awful. Like even your description of it now, it sounds awful, like having to fight and having to, do all this kind of stuff. But is that because they think it is that, but they don't care? Or is it because they think it's not that? Do they think it's easier than what it really is?
It's because they think that it's manageable. They think that it's Netflix, canteens. They feel like they understand. If someone's telling you to take a risk and you know the outcome of the risk, and you look at the outcome and you think, I can deal with that. Like, that's a manageable. You're more likely going to take the risk. It's like when you place a bet. If you know the outcomes, you're more likely to put the bet. And I feel like that's what young people feel like they understand. So when a person's telling them, here's £1,000 to do 2 years or more, they're not thinking about everything they're going to miss, the repercussions, the ripple effect, the DBS, the mental health, confinement behind their cell, things they miss out. They're just thinking Netflix, gym, feet up, social media, music, all these things. So when they're saying yes because that's what they're expected to. So if you're telling someone, here's £1,000, go sit in this imaginary world that you've built up through social media, through glamorizing the lifestyle, they're gonna say yes. And £1,000 is not a lot of money for
No.
2 years or more. It's mad. It's mad.
Were you surprised by that?
I was surprised to the point where I had to ask Jade, did we reword? Did they misread this question or something?
Yeah.
Because this is scary. Because nearly anyone in London walks with a value of £1,000 if you think of it. Your
Yeah.
iPhone's 600-700 £. You got a nice jacket that's probably £100. Then so on, so on. That adds up to £1,000. And if you have 37 young people saying that they are willing to risk 2 years or more for £1,000, any of us can be a victim of the streets of London. And that's why when you hear the news of Canada Goose jackets getting stolen, iPhones getting snatched, so on, you're thinking, oh, why would these young people do such things for a small amount of money? But now they've admittedly saying, yes, they will do it for this amount of money.
So what's the future for you now? Like, what's the future for Khady's dream? Like, if you can look ahead to 5 years from now, what's your dream scenario?
For Khady's dream, I want us to be a platform, a company that helps young people at risk of offending. But before I get into that, the reason why I want to be like preventive side, because there's something called the youth offenders team and there's something called probation. Now, I ask professionals, young people that work there, how does a young person get contacted by them? They say they have to be arrested. And the first time I got arrested is when I started actually understanding the basic knowledge of the criminal justice system. I started understanding I need a solicitor. I'm going to need a barrister if I take it to trial, sentence guideline, courts, so on. So I'm thinking, hold on, but why is it that you learn these things after you get arrested? These are basic knowledge. Where's the support before they get arrested? Like, don't you think that this information should be out there for young people to actually get the truth about it? And it was just mad because we've set up as they learn once it's too late. And that's what I'm passionate about. Like, young people shouldn't learn when it's too late. So we want to be that space or that brand where they come to us to learn about the consequences before they make that decision. And not only young people, parents as well. Loads of parents have attended these workshops and I asked myself, why are you attending workshops? You're not obviously going to commit crime. And they just turn around and say, we need that knowledge to educate our young person. We can't tell our kids, don't do this, you'll end up in prison. That's one sentence. If they turn around and say, Mommy, Daddy, what's prison like? What would I miss out? What is it like in there? You can't elaborate on that. So how can you tell someone not to do anything when you can't elaborate, when they ask them back? Wow, you can't elaborate. They're going on social media. They're seeing prison looking cool. They're seeing snacks. They're seeing Netflix, PlayStation. They're just not taken on board. And that's why in 5 years' time, we want to be in a space where we support families and young people that are at risk of offending. And what that looks like is delivering mandatory workshops in schools from a young age. Maybe not for each age, the workshops will be different, but also try to be a prevention statutory in terms of when you go court, if you're a first-time offender and you get sentenced, instead of sending them straight to prison, which is the last thing on the card, they must attend these workshops so they understand what the actions they're doing, the consequences they could get led to, but in an authentic manner. So we just want to be that, and I feel like that's what's needed in society. And so in 5 years' time, if that will be good in terms of being in schools, having that support services for families to come to educate the young people, but also work alongside the court. So it's mandatory. Instead of sending young people to community service, like picking up trees or doing not many hours, doing certain things, send them to preventive workshops, which they have to attend or they'll go to prison. So they can actually learn, and that will put a doubt in their mind of continuing the lifestyle they're continuing. Because till then, there's no doubt. There's no one stepping forward and saying, yo, see what you're doing here? That's the ripple effect. But you can't see it now, but you're going to see it later.
It makes complete sense. And the way you describe it, and I can see why it's so important for people like for you to do the workshops as well, because they're going to connect to you in a way that they wouldn't with other people, because you're speaking to them from a position that you understand rather than you're just telling them information. It's amazing and inspirational the way that you've corrected your path through your own mind. You know, it's not like something happened or someone forced you to do something. Something occurred to you that made you go in a different direction. And I guess the final question I want to ask is more about you, in that you got this whole thing started because you wanted status and you wanted money and you wanted to use the money to buy nice things. And I guess that would have given you a sense of satisfaction in yourself or made you feel like you were achieving and winning. Does your new path and what you're doing now give you the same level of satisfaction?
Yeah, I feel like when I give young people, when I do the workshops and I talk to young people and we give that basic knowledge and understanding, and we plant that doubt, because what we are doing is planting doubt in their heads, because they think they know it all until we come along and puts doubt in their heads. It gives me a satisfaction because I feel like I've done something good. I feel like I've potentially saved a young person from entering the criminal justice system, from going what I've gone through. And it gives me that satisfaction because I want to do good. I want to give back to my community. I want to stop young people from making the same mistakes that I made. And that I just have a passion for it, that they need to learn. And the way I look at it is, if I was 12, 13, or even 10, and someone told me, yo, Kevin, see what you're doing, these choices you're making now, in 10 years' time, you can be in Pentonville, in and out of prison, and your mum can have a stroke or die. And if someone told me that when I'm age 11 or 12, I'll be thinking, whoa, are you sure? Like, tell me more. I'll be curious, like, tell me more, because I'm about to go sell this, and that. But now you're telling me if I continue, there's a position where my mum could pass away or I can be in and out of prison, that can have a stroke. Like, hold on, let me think, tell me more, because at that age, you're young enough to rely on your parents, and even hitting them with that shock factor is scary enough, but it creates that doubt in their heads. And that's the satisfaction that I get. I get the fact that I've spoken to these young people, I've spoken to the group of young people. Now they have the truth. They know the truth. It's been hidden from them through social media, through other platforms, through word of mouth. Now they have the truth. If they continue to go do what they're doing, us as a company, we've delivered that truth, and that's in their hands. But what we can't do is not give them that truth. We can't hide away the truth from them. It's not fair. And that's where I get my satisfaction, that every young person that comes to the workshops, I give them a certain information that they didn't know to go back, and that's embedded in their head.
Mm-hmm. It's been brilliant talking to you, Kevin. Really, really enjoyed it. And you've spoken really well and passionately. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.